So here we are at the San Antonio Botanical Gardens, and this is the amphitheater. It's at the height of the gardens in the back, and this is was the first above ground reservoir created in San Antonio. It was closed down in 1890, and the land was donated by Brackenridge. There was a typhoid outbreak. They didn't understand how, they just trusted well water. They didn't realize how enormous the Edwards Aquifer was. So, some stupid city official, much like our current mayor Castro, who knows better than all us the normal people, sitting on a virtual ocean, a small Great Lake of water in San Antonio, decided to build an above ground reservoir to pump water. That's why you see water towers. They're elevated just to provide water pressure. So this was the high point of old downtown San Antonio. Now, these walls actually extend about another 6 feet in the ground. They've been filled in with soil over the years, but this is what's left of it. So the typhoid got in the water up here and then went downstream. Now there used to be a San Pedro River not too far from, actually just downhill from here, and many people would use that as their drinking water to get baptized in. Anyway, they shut down the San Pedro River back in the 80s, drained it, turned it into a culvert. But hundreds of people died from the typhoid outbreak back in the 1800s, late 1800s, and it just really want to talk about that. You can see these support columns. They actually tried to cover it a little bit. But anyway, the water, when we've got relatively clean water in the U.S. They add fluoride to it, which is just basically a poison. But the water is generally very good outside of that. However, if there's a power grid failure, or as the infrastructure collapses because of lack of funds, you're going to have to go back to old school ways to make sure your water's clean. Boiling it, straining it through. You can buy the Brita filters or whatnot. But this is for when the stuff gets bad, whether there's a total breakdown of the power grid or whatever. There's a law of threes. 3 minutes without air, 3 days with 3 hours with below freezing temperature, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. Well, let's ignore the 3 minutes without air, because if you're gasping for air, you're not going to remember what I'm telling you anyway. So let's go to the core temperature. It depends on what part of the country you are. That's not going to be the scope of this video, but we're going to be the 3-day water thing. If you're in the desert Southwest like here, you're going to have water's going to be a prime concern. Not so much staying warm. That's not really a problem here, but depending on where you are, well, everywhere you are, water should be your main thing. Main thing to worry about. Ways to keep the water clean if you're just totally out in the middle of nowhere. Whatever water you find, if you don't have tablets, and there's all kinds of systems you can use, but I'm just going to talk about if you're out in the middle of nowhere. If you can strain the water through something, if water's flowing over rock, in the sunlight for 100 yards or so, it's probably safe to drink. The UV light and the fact that it's running over rocks will tend to break down organisms in it. Obviously, the further high up you can get, the better it is. If you find some water, I'm talking like right at the end of, you'll do anything. If you find some water, strain it through something, a coffee filter, your shirt, to get the large particulates out of it. When you strain it as many times as you can with whatever you can to strain it, it looks clear, then boil the water. That'll kill all the microorganisms in it, and then you can let it cool off and drink it. But don't just trust water standing still. Like I said, the best thing if the power grid fails and you know, we're reduced after a month out where you're just looking for water everywhere. You need to strain it and then heat it. Heat it to a rolling boil and let it be there for a few minutes, and then let it cool down. Then you can drink it. That's because if you get sick while there's a breakdown, chances of you getting better aren't that hot. So anyway, remember, water's the key to everything. Thank you for your consideration, and if you can ever come to the San Antonio Botanical Gardens, come here and check out San Antonio's first above-ground reservoir. Pretty cool. Like I said, it was built by well-meaning people that didn't realize we were sitting on basically a great lake of water, and the politicians of the day spent, you know, probably thousands of dollars to build this back then. And thank you for your time. Bye.